This episode of Manage Smarter is presented by Sales Fuel Coach, our adaptive sales coaching featuring 5-minute quick coaching personalized to each sales rep. Learn more about Sales Fuel Coach at salesfuel.com. Welcome to the Manage Smarter podcast with hosts C. Lee Smith and Audrey Strong. We're glad you're here for discussions on new ways to manage smarter, hire, develop and retain talent, improve results, and propel team performance to new heights. This is the Manage Smarter podcast.
You know, operations and the customer service department, obviously critical to any business lean. We really haven't talked about that amid this COVID-19 pandemic all that much.
You know, as everyone is struggling, then try to, learn technology they've never used before or install new technology into their computers from home. And they just can't walk down, the hall or, go down 2 floors down or whatever and talk to somebody to get help with their computer issues or anything like that. Everyone's working remotely and having to do it from home, which provides its own unique challenges. And well, I think that we've got somebody on board here today or whatever who can speak to that.
Absolutely. Welcome to Manage Smarter, everyone. I'm Audrey Strong. I'm the Vice President of Communications here at Sales Fuel.
And I'm C. Lee Smith, the President and CEO of Sales Fuel.
All right. So the guest today, Justin Winter, he says not only as the sort of your ticket system you've got, probably not doing it for you right now. He wants to also teach us how to flip the operations side of things, a cost center generally in terms of labor and servicing, into a profit center, particularly the way things are set up now. Justin is the co-founder and CEO of Boostopia, a SaaS platform that allows you to manage your newly work-from-home customer support team with the world's first support department operations platform. He exited his prior company. It was a fragrance company, right, Justin?
Yeah, basically candles and home fragrance. Yep.
Yeah, growing it to $22 million in annual sales. Wow, to focus on this new problem. Boostopia, the missing link to your support help desk software built for managers to understand, manage, and improve the team and the customer experience. And the company has also launched what's called a Support Operation Audit. We're going to learn about that as well. And he's coming to us live from Durham, North Carolina, everyone. Justin, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. So glad to be here today.
So let's talk about this. What are you hearing about, not only the coronavirus, but in general, remote customer service?
And really, how has it changed since before COVID-19?
Yeah. No, certainly. The changes that we're seeing in the marketplace as it relates to customer support, customer experience, customer success kind of departments is that most management styles for most departments were very in-person because with obviously this type of role interacting with a company's customers on a regular basis, there's just naturally a lot of obviously communication and just coaching that's happening between kind of those team leaders, those managers, and those kind of frontline contributors. So as soon as everyone was kind of forced to work from home, for really most organizations, the primary way that they would kind of work together was just kind of removed from them because they had never had to do that before. So figuring out how do I understand and assess how someone is performing right now if I can't, listen to them while they're on the phone or, kind of be there in person for like a coaching session. What does that look like now? And, how can we continue to improve on things continue with the same management programs that we've had before. But kind of in this new world with these new limitations. So I think that's, was a big fundamental shift, for departments and, has forced people to kind of more rely much more heavily on kind of the tooling that they're using to understand how people are performing, what the trends in, customer experience and kind of support volume is. In order to figure out, well, hey, what do we need to be focusing on? What do we need to be working on improving right now based on what we're seeing in our data and in our systems that we have. So it's definitely caused a lot of people to have to grow pretty quickly in kind of their maturity with using tools and not just relying on kind of face-to-face, kind of informal. Hey, what's been going on today? Any big trends you've been seeing in all your support conversations? Right. It's even though certainly you can hop on a Zoom and do that, but it's just not as accessible like it was before. So definitely a lot happening for sure.
Are you hearing from your end users that customers are a little bit more difficult or angsty these days?
Yeah, fair question. So not particularly. I think for companies that we work with who have been negatively affected by COVID in some way, most of them have been taking steps to proactively communicate how that is going to affect a customer's wait time or service level in some way. So we found that most customers for most of our companies have been really fairly understanding of that, in the same way that they've had challenges individually as parents oftentimes and things like that, to know that, hey, we're all working from home and we're a little bit behind compared to normal because we're trying to stay safe and we're trying to stay home and those different types of things. They have been fairly understanding from what I've heard by and large, I know, across all of our companies. So that's definitely been a huge help, during this time for sure.
So in your support operation audit, what are the components of that? And the reason I'm asking is that our listeners may want to perform this on their own or with your help, but what are the things we should be looking at?
Yeah, definitely. So two of the big areas that we help companies examine, and we have companies who literally just have one support team member, even as small as just one part-time support team member, to companies that have over 100 full-time support agents. And if they're interested in kind of a third-party look and view and assessment of, hey, how are we really doing, right? What do we not know about what we could be doing? The old we don't know what we don't know problem kind of thing. So the audit, which we have our support analysts perform complimentary for anyone who's interested and qualifies, we're able to kind of go through and compare a support operation and kind of the primary operational metrics of a support operation compared to the benchmark of the now over hundreds of times we've done this before, to give someone an outside view of not just, hey, here's something you can or should be doing with how you're managing things, but also if you were to do that thing, here's our projection in terms of that actual business value that you would garner from kind of developing that part of the operation. So two of the main areas, or just number wise, that we focus on is taking a look at what it is a company currently or not currently doing when it comes to what we would call deflection. So that's kind of the art and the science of eliminating problems from occurring in the first place, so that customers don't have to talk to you if they don't want to. So the example I always give, if I'm shopping online and I want to buy a pair of shoes, and I buy a pair, let's say it's a red pair of shoes, they're shipped to my house, I open up the box and they're green. Well, obviously that's a bad experience for me. So I'm going to have to call up customer support and say, hey, you sent me the wrong shoes. Can you help me out? And it doesn't matter how nice that person is and how quickly they just solve my issue. If they next day the shoes back out to me, I would have personally preferred to not have had that problem in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I think we could all say that, and that might seem obnoxiously simple, but so that's what really deflection is, and how well as a company, make how easy are they making the experience so that they're not having tons of problems, so that they have to talk to the support team and reach out and say, hey, I have a problem. Can you fix the problem?
What about some of the other aspects that are maybe not so people centric, like chat bots and things like that? People would prefer. Are you finding that more people would prefer to interact through a live chat or through sending in a ticket rather than talking to a person, or do you find it the other way around?
Yeah, so it really depends. There's definitely been this big boon in kind of chat bots. We're all seeing them everywhere. We see them executed very poorly, very frequently. And it's like, oh, it's a chat bot. What's a chat bot? And I feel like companies are like, well, this seems fancy. let's try that. and,
Yeah.
and, instead of, like we regularly see situations where a chatbot is basically like a forced, like help center article search, like function. But the problem is, like before, like a search bar actually does pretty good, right? Like a Google search is not a Google chatbot to like search the internet. That would be ridiculous, right? So, forcing a like 6-step, which of these 5 categories, and you click them, and then the like clearly fake robot chatbot has the stupid 3-second wait. And it's like, I know you're not a person, right? Like, why are you making me wait to give me back this next set of results, right? So the distinction that we're seeing is that it's really about customers want to, number one, not have problems in the first place. And then number two, if they do have a problem, they want that problem or that misunderstanding where they need more additional information, they want to get to that solution as fast as possible, right? Because the lesser the time, the lesser the hassle, and we all want less hassle. So if I have a question like, how much does shipping cost? Would I rather talk to a person or wait 60 seconds and get connected with someone on live chat to get my question answered? Or would I rather just find right on the website how much shipping costs and have it done within 5 seconds? Well, I'd rather have done in 5 seconds, right? If I can, because that's faster for me. So I think companies are doing this well, where they're thinking really strategically about when it comes to basic, straightforward, information-based, clarification-based issues. Let's let technology do what technology is good at, and that is speed, right? Accessibility. It never sleeps. You never have to pay it overtime. And then let's protect our team from having to be glorified robots and answer those types of questions, so we can free up their time to have higher value questions and conversations directed towards them, where they can solve complex problems, right? And where they can have value add conversations where instead of, hey, here's the shipping policy, it's the customer asking, hey, I'm thinking about buying a pair of red shoes, but I have this other product. What would you recommend, product expert, right? Support departments would much rather be having that conversation, right? And that's a way to create business value, not just be a glorified robot giving someone the answer to an FAQ.
I think it's really about how can you get the customer the answer they're looking for as quickly as possible. So it's like, if you can put it on the website, put it there. If you can do it in live chat, do it there. But then if you have to talk to a person, like when you gave the example of, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking to buy whatever, what would you recommend? And it's like, and that might require a couple follow-up questions, and that might require a couple different product options. And, it's like, and for the user to actually try to go and use a search box or whatever to try to figure all that out on their own, assuming they even knew what questions, or what things to search for, much quicker to actually talk to a person. So I think it really, in my mind, it really is all about the speed of getting the buyer the information that they need as quickly as possible.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
It seems to me that the pathway to that, and this just comes from an experience I had yesterday, is more and more integration to create efficiencies, which is where the profit comes from having this all set up, right, Justin? The reason I ask, for example, I sent a box to Lee and it got lost by the post office, but it was an Amazon box. And the minute I got the notifier that the box was officially lost, I could click something and within 90 seconds, they had given me a refund. Because all the systems were talking to each other.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what are some of the other ways you recommend integrating in levers that can make that so fast and easy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this is another great example of, the amount of time it took for you to go from, I need this thing done, to having that thing done was made much, much shorter because they had developed a one button click solution where most companies historically, if you needed to get that process done, you had to have an email exchange or you had to talk to someone. So obviously the only way to accomplish that is through, tooling and integration of, the site with those back-end systems. So I think for most companies, depending on their industry and their vertical, So let's say for the e-commerce kind of consumer goods category, because at the end of the day, a product return is a product return is a product return. It doesn't matter if you sell shoes or food on the internet. There's a large number of technology solutions that exist out there where you can kind of tap into a platform like that can integrate with the tools you're already using. So if you're in kind of a category like that, one of the first places I would go is say, hey, let me look around. I can't be the first person to be interested in automating this use case and making this easier for customers. So I would start there. And then for companies who maybe are software companies and maybe there's more complex workflows, they're in a B2B environment, that's where definitely oftentimes looking in the integrations directories of your ticketing systems is a great first place to look at any tooling that might connect with let's say your subscription billing system, but that integrates with your ticketing system. So if someone wants to, adjust their plan level or something like that, well, that's be a great example of something that could be automated, right? So that's a great place to start. And then I think over time, what is super important when it comes to this type of stuff and why we see companies don't move this direction is that they have a hard time quantifying the potential value of automating something like that. So we actually here now, actually just a couple weeks ago, we released our completely free insights reporting product, which would also would love anyone to check out and give us feedback as we've just released that. But one of the things that does is it connects to your ticketing system where your support team lives to have all of your conversations, your phone calls, chat, your email conversations. And we combine that activity data that already exists in there with the time data of how long it takes a team member to have that conversation to solve that problem. And then we also add your cost data. So how much am I paying the people to spend the time to have that conversation? And when you have all of that data in one place, and some companies do this now, they just make custom spreadsheet models that they have to manually update. And it takes a couple hours every time they want to do that, once a week or once a month. But when you do that and you can see that, oh, hey, last month we had 327 conversations about, could you please change my plan level, let's say. And on average, it takes our team 10 minutes to manually make that adjustment for a customer based on how much we pay our people, right? That's going to be $2,000 a month, right? Let's say. So for support leaders and operations leaders to be able to actually understand that kind of cost burden, that time burden for the department, and to be able to articulate it in a way that is powerful, that the rest of the company understands, that is a huge kind of gap right now for most companies. So if that support team leader is able to go to the engineering department, right? Or to go to the finance department and say, hey, I figured out we're spending $3,000 a month on this one thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so, gosh, that's 36 grand a year. So if we could invest, let's say $15,000 in some special project to build some special tooling to make this click button automated, well, that's a 6-month payback period. That would actually probably be a very good investment for the company to make. Now, all of a sudden, if you can have that conversation, you just unlock the natural incentives that exist within any for-profit enterprise, right? To improve the customer experience because you're saving time, which is also good for the customer. So it's really this, it's not one or the other. Making the experience better for the customer for situations like that can also save the company time and money to free them up to have more proactive and higher value conversations.
My last question for you today, Justin, is a big one, I think. And let's say we've inspired some people to want to take a closer look at improving their customer support. And, we've touched on speed already. What are the other one or two things in that really separate those companies that do a really good job with customer support and those that don't?
Yeah. So one of the big differentiators that we see is that great customer experiences are created by companies who focus on engaging their team and have a regular focus on operational improvement. So what I mean by that is most companies, they really only care about maintenance. Are we getting back to everyone within one business day? Is our CSAT score nice and high? And yes, those are important things, but really the continual process of saying, hey, how can we continually be training, empowering our individual team members, and really supporting them to hit new goals as opposed to top-down management where we're treating them like commodities that we want to pay as little as possible. How can we really engage them and unlock just their creativity, their problem-solving ability, to motivate them, to encourage them, to recognize them, to reward them, right? So you do that. And then on the other side, you need to have your support leadership and your operations leadership who are never happy with the status quo. It should always be about, hey, we have an understanding of our foundational numbers and how everything is looking right now, but how are we going to improve this month, this quarter on those core numbers so you're constantly improving? And if you focus on those two areas, what we see is that that is the recipe for creating next generation world-class customer experiences that lead to customers who are happier, who stay around longer, which means more revenue for the company.
Terrific ideas. If you have questions for Justin, his Twitter, JC Winter, just like the season, and the website, boostopia.com. Justin, all great ideas, a lot to think about. And anytime you can help our listeners find a way to put a value within their department, within a complex organization, it's a win because you get a stronger seat at the table. That's what I always say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you both.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more great information at salesfuel.com.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.